Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to get pregnant naturally after 40 using Chinese medicine. And hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a licensed Chinese medicine practitioner and I specialize in fertility. I have over 10 years experience in this field and I have an over 95% success rate of helping women get pregnant naturally because what I do is I help women support their bodies. The truth is that your body wants to procreate, right? Biologically, your body wants to procreate. And all I do is I help teach you and I help guide women on how to support their bodies to do what it wants to do what it's meant to do, which is to heal naturally, which is to get pregnant, to carry a beautiful pregnancy. And that's what I'm going to talk with you about today. How to really support your body and remove any blockages that are stopping you from getting pregnant after 40. One of the biggest myths out there in the fertility world is this fact that age is the biggest factor when it comes to your fertility or your ability to get pregnant. And the truth is it's simply not true. And I'm going to explain why. But I've had patients at 41 and 42 get pregnant fairly easily within 1 to 3 months. And I've had patients at 28 that take over a year to get pregnant. At 30, it took me almost 2 years to get pregnant. At 34, it took me 2 months to get pregnant. So to say that age is the biggest factor affecting your fertility, it just isn't true. But I want to talk about what is the biggest factor affecting your fertility and then go into how you can really enhance and maintain your fertility after 40. To get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of resources in your body. You know, the new science says that being pregnant is like running a marathon every day for 9 months. That takes an enormous amount of energy to run a marathon every day for 9 months. Like just imagine doing that, right? And that's what your body's doing when it's pregnant. The thing is, if your body doesn't have the energy to do that, you're not going to get pregnant. It's just not going to happen because your body doesn't have the energy to support it. In Chinese medicine, the main resources your body needs to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy are blood. Blood is a big one because your body needs to be able to double in blood volume to support a healthy pregnancy. And that blood doesn't just come out of thin air. Your body needs to have that blood in reserve to support the pregnancy. The second one is yin. Yin is thick fluids in your body. Yin is actual tangible thick fluids in our body that we can see or feel if we were on our insides. And from a Western medicine perspective, yin is often related to sex hormones such as estrogen and progesterone, right? So our body needs an abundance of sex hormones in order to get pregnant. And lastly, there is qi. Qi is just energy, right? Our body needs energy to run. It needs fuel to run, and it needs a lot of energy to grow another human being. Now, the reason they say that your fertility declines with age is because these resources naturally decline with age. That's just part of the aging process, right? But one, we can slow down the speed at which these resources decline in our body. And two, we can always build back these resources anytime through proper diet, lifestyle, nutrition, and mindset, which is what I'm going to talk to you about here today. From a Chinese medicine perspective, until you hit menopause at around 49 and 50, which again, it can be a range, but that's typically in Chinese medicine when we say a woman should be going through menopause, your body still has the ability to get pregnant. Yes, the amount of eggs you have declines with age, but at 40, you still have roughly 10,000 eggs left. At 45, you still have roughly 5,000 eggs left. And you know how many eggs it takes to get pregnant? 1. It takes 1 good egg. Now, as I mentioned, in order to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, the main goal is to really build a lot of resources in your body, right? To really nourish your body and nourish your energy. So when you are in your 40s and you're trying to get pregnant, I want your mindset to be on really nourishing and building. We don't want to be detoxing and we don't want to be dieting or restricting. We want to be nourishing. So in order to nourish your body, the best place to start is food. Food is where our body gets its resources. It's where our body gets its fuel, its energy. And the food that we're eating can either be supporting us or hindering us. So we want to eat a diet that really supports us. And when talking about diet, first we need to talk about the energy of your spleen. So in Chinese medicine, the energy of your spleen is responsible for digesting and absorbing the nutrients from the food that you eat, and then turning those nutrients into resources such as blood and yin and sex hormones and energy, qi in your body. The energy of your spleen is essentially your gut health. And if the energy of your spleen is out of balance, right, if you have poor gut health, you could be eating all the good food, but it's not going to make a huge difference because your body's not able to digest and absorb that food and turn those nutrients into usable resources in your body. So, in order to nourish the energy of your spleen, it is vitally important to eat warm cooked foods. Warm cooked foods are easier for your body to digest. They take less digestive energy, less digestive fire, less digestive fluid and acid to digest and absorb. Cold raw foods over time will weaken your digestive system and make it really hard for your body to assimilate nutrients. So the number one thing I would tell you to do in terms of food to support your fertility after 40 is to eat warm cooked foods. Now, it's also important to feed your body the right foods in order to build blood, to build yin and sex hormones, and to build qi and energy in your body. And included with this, there's a downloadable PDF that tells you all the right foods to build blood and to build yin in your body. And you're going to really want to focus on those. But to dive into it quickly right here, foods that build blood, red meat is one of the biggest ones. If you really want to build blood in your body, you need to eat small amounts of red meat frequently, which means not having a 16-ounce steak every day, but a small amount, like 4 to 6 ounces frequently. When I was trying to get pregnant with my second child, and it only took me 2 months, I had red meat almost every day. I'd say probably 5 days a week. Other foods that really help support building blood are cooked leafy greens, beets and berries, black and red lentils and beans, bone broth and eggs. These are all really wonderful foods to help support your body in building blood, and you need to eat them consistently. And now, in order to build yin in your body, to build sex hormones in your body needs an abundance of saturated fat. Saturated fat helps to build cholesterol in your body, and your body needs cholesterol in order to create estrogen and progesterone. So one of the best foods you could eat for fertility is butter. Butter is like the epitome of a yin food, but things like butter, red meat, dark meat, all those have really wonderful sources of saturated fat that are going to help you to build yin, to build sex hormones in your body. And then overall, you really just want to eat a very well-balanced diet of whole cooked foods. So cooked grains, cooked meats, cooked vegetables, cooked beans, cooked root vegetables, right? It's really just about getting a good variety of whole cooked foods. Eating doesn't need to be complicated. It's really just about getting back to the basics. Lastly, in terms of things you're going to want to add to your diet, is you want to make sure you're having at least one soup or stew a day. And the reason soups and stews are so important is because they help to build hydration in your body. They help to build thin fluids. And the reason thin fluids are really important for fertility and your overall health is because your body needs a basis to build things like blood and sex hormones, and thin fluids are the actual material basis to start building blood. And again, without an abundance of blood and without an abundance of sex hormones, your body is not going to have a healthy menstrual cycle, and your body is not going to be able to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy. And yes, we need to drink water throughout the day, but drinking water isn't going to properly hydrate your body because typically we just urinate it out. You really need to focus on wet foods, and wet foods are things like soups and stews and cooked grains that really hold moisture into them. And then reducing foods that are drying, things like crackers and chips and popcorn, which we already talked about reducing anyways because we're focusing on whole cooked foods now. In terms of food and diet, you also need to make sure that you're eating enough. Like I said previously, it's not about dieting or restricting, it's about nourishing your body. So making sure you're eating at least 3 meals a day, have to be eating 3 meals. And then if you're hungry in between that, having snacks, really honoring your body, honoring what your body's asking you for, right? Really listening to your body at this time in your life. And then lastly, and probably just as important, foods that you're going to want to strongly avoid. The number one is coffee. I get so much pushback on this, but I've never had a woman tell me that she's given up coffee and feels worse on it. Almost everyone feels better not drinking coffee. And the reason you must stop drinking coffee if you're trying to get pregnant over 40 is because coffee depletes the energy of your kidneys. In Chinese medicine, our kidneys are our battery pack. They're like our vitality. But more importantly, in terms of reproduction, they are our reproductive battery pack. The health of your kidneys is equally correlated to your fertility and your reproductive health. And by drinking coffee, you are depleting your reproductive health. You are depleting your kidneys and that battery pack. On top of that, when you drink coffee, it masks your hunger cues, so you don't feel hungry when you should be, which means you're not fully nourishing your body. And it also hinders your sleep cues, so you're probably not getting enough rest to nourish your body. So you absolutely must stop drinking coffee if you're over 40 and you want to get pregnant. And you're also going to want to reduce things like excess sugar, alcohol, any toxic substance, right? Anything that's not grown in the ground or eats off the ground is something that our body does not know how to digest and assimilate and is going to weaken our energy over time. So I like to think of nutrition as kind of like our foundation when it comes to fertility, right? If we're thinking about building a house, we need a really strong foundation, and nutrition is going to help build that strong foundation. But we still need to build that house, and there's still a lot of things that can completely knock down that house. So let's talk about those things. Everything you do in your life on a daily basis can either support or hinder your fertility. And anything that's depleting on your energy and your body is depleting your fertility. Because remember, to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, we need to really build a lot of resources. And part of that is stopping those things that are quickly draining our resources. So the things that are draining your resources are things like high intensity workouts. You're going to want to stop doing those sweaty workouts that are draining your fluids, that are getting your heart rate up, that are reducing the amount of resources and energy in your body. One way to think about it is like, let's say, you have this bubble of energy, right? You have this much energy, this many resources in your body. And then, you go to work, you lose about half of them. You go to the gym, you lose even more, right? Because you're doing high intensity workouts. And then you only have this little resources left to function for your body to stay alive and stay healthy. This is not enough to maintain a pregnancy. So everything you do, I want you to think about, where is my energy going? Is it building and nourishing, or is it draining? And high intensity workouts are draining. Other things that are extremely draining are stress and anxiety and worry and overthinking. When we have these emotions constantly going on in our body, it's almost like a motor constantly running in the background. And that motor is just draining our gas. It's draining our fuel and our energy. So what you want to do is really examine where this stress, this anxiety, this worry, this fear, this overthinking is coming from. You want to get to the root cause of what is causing this stress and anxiety and worry. It's not about doing breath work or yoga or going on walks to quote unquote calm your nervous system, because the truth is that does not calm your nervous system. What it does is it masks your nervous system. The number one thing you're going to want to do if you're feeling stressed, anxious, or worried, or scared, or whatever emotion is going on in your body, is you want to honor it and feel it. The worst thing you can do is try to breathe it away or push it away. You need to allow yourself to sit in that uncomfortable energy. And this is like my favorite trick that I teach women. So if you're feeling anxious, just sit and allow yourself to feel anxious for a moment. If you're feeling angry, sit and allow yourself to feel angry. If you're feeling worried, allow yourself to be worried. It's when we try to ignore or push away those emotions that they linger, that they stay in our body, that our nervous system is continuously activated. But when we allow ourselves to feel those emotions, it allows our nervous system to go through the process of fight, flight, or freeze that it's supposed to, right? Our nervous system is supposed to go through this process, and it goes through it quite quickly when you just allow yourself to feel uncomfortable for a few minutes. But again, what happens when we don't allow ourselves to feel the emotions? Our body gets stuck and our nervous system gets stuck in fight, flight, or freeze because we're not honoring our body and our emotions and our feelings. And that's how you're going to deal with these emotions in the moment. But what's really important is to get to the root cause of why these emotions are coming up so they don't continue coming up, which usually has to do with examining some stored trauma or emotions in your body, which also can be really depleting on your energy, any trauma or emotions that you haven't fully released from your body, because they're throwing the energy of your body out of balance. Holding stored trauma can specifically be really devastating to fertility because we store trauma in a channel in our body called Chungmai. Chungmai is also called sea of blood. But the importance of Chungmai when it comes to fertility is that we store all of our yin and yang energy in our kidneys in this channel of Chungmai. And the channel of Chungmai is what distributes this blood and this qi and this energy to our uterus and our ovaries to support our reproductive health. So if this channel is out of balance and it's not working properly to do that, it really makes a big impact on your fertility. And this is what I see a lot in my practice. So really making sure that you're not ignoring trauma, that you're not ignoring emotions, and really working through them on a somatic, physical, mind-body level. And then lastly, you just want to examine everything in your life and where are you giving away your energy. What I see a lot in my practice is women who are constantly doing things for others, right? Constantly putting other people first. And when you're putting other people first, you're putting yourself last. You know, the author and speaker Ryan Holiday often says when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, right? And I love this phrase because it's true. And also, when you're saying yes to someone, often you're saying no to yourself. So I want you to think about saying yes to yourself, putting yourself first. This is a time in your life when you really need to prioritize you. Put yourself first. And by doing that, you're creating that energy to welcome a new life into your world. In order to get pregnant, on a spiritual level, you need enough space in your life. And if you are constantly overworking and putting other people first, saying yes to everyone, family and friends, you don't have space in your life to welcome in another human being, right? To welcome in a baby. So I wanted you to think about where can you create space in your life and how can you put yourself first. And lastly, and tying in with that, in order to nourish your body, you need to prioritize sleep. When you're sleeping is when your body's creating these resources. That's when your body's creating blood and sex hormones and all these beautiful things that your body needs in order to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy. So you have to be in bed by at least 11 o'clock at night. Be in bed for at least 8 hours. So you're giving your body at least 8 hours to sleep. Look, I don't make up biology, but at the end of the day, you have to sleep in order to create energy. So if you're not prioritizing sleep, your body's not getting the energy it needs to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy. To close out, I just want you to know that getting pregnant after 40 naturally is absolutely possible. But it's about giving your body the resources it needs and removing the blockages. At the end of the day, your body wants to procreate. Your body wants to get pregnant for you. And all we need to do is remove those blockages that are stopping your body from doing what it wants to do. So if you're over 40 and you're trying to get pregnant, this is the time to put yourself first, to create space in your life, and to really nourish your body. If you have any questions, please reach out. And like I mentioned, you can download a list of foods to help support building blood and to support building yin in your body, which are one of the two main resources your body needs to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy.